agenda is a disclosure of pecuniary interest. Anybody has a disclosure of pecuniary interest? None? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Mackay, seconded by Councillor Weir. Be it resolved that the Council and Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the agenda for May 13th, 2015 meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next item on the agenda is the 2015 budget. And I'll hand it over to Martha.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to the 2015 budget workshop. You were provided with numerous documentations. We're going to start off tonight with the 2015 proposed expenses, and along with that is the notes that I provided for you, okay? So during the discussion, I am going to leave the proposed expenses up on the screen, and then as we go through it, and I'm not sure if council would like to go line by line or just kind of hit, maybe if there's a note there, or maybe you just kind of just guide me as we go through. We can talk about items. Each department head is here except for Steve. He is away. So if I can't answer them, they'll be able to answer them for us. Okay, Doug is here now. Okay. So is everybody ready to start?
Where did you want to start first with the package?
We're going to start with the proposed expenses, the 2015 proposed expenses. But then just have your notes available with you. And I'm hoping you've had a chance to see them. And what I did on this budget is I put down a note with a number beside it. And then if you looked in your note package, it would relate to that one. And it would just basically give a description as to why that number is there. Yeah. And then also, too, along for the expenses, you will see the legal size capital project expenditure sheet. Okay, so we will be referencing that throughout the night. Yeah, it was obviously shrunk down for you, yeah. Okay.
Marsha,
yes?
What's the notes? I was looking at the note package. Sorry, just the note. Where is the note package in here as well? The reference?
Yeah, this is the note package right here.
Yeah?
It's there, yeah, right there.
Okay, but so I see note 1, for instance. Where would I find what relates to note 1?
Flip a couple of pages to see note 1.
And that's how you'll find your notes.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Super, thank you.
Okay. So basically, I just want to share a little bit of treasurer's notes here for the 2015 budget. As you all know, that I'm new to the position as of July 1st, 2014, and learning the treasury position and the VADM system in a more detailed manner. So that took a little bit of time. We had some staff change in position and admin staff. We had new duties that were delegated to all the different department heads. And we had 5 council members, as well as learn the various expectations of the council. So it has been an interesting couple of months. So hopefully then that we're able to provide you, as well as the taxpayers, an exact amount of costs associated with running the municipality. I know each and every one of you council members really want to know very, very down to the detail of what it costs, so we have provided you with that. So with the understanding that we know some of these projects must come out in order to balance the budget. Okay? So we'll start off with, I'll look up at the screen, but you guys feel free to stop me at any point in time. These are our DLs, and this is what you'll see in the highlighted yellow section. This is what we are budgeting for the 2015 year. So you will see the 2014 budgeted values as well as the 2014 actual values, okay? And so these are the 2015 budget values. We can't make changes to the 2014 actual, but we can make changes to the budgeted 2015 values. So basically we start off, the first line item in our chart of accounts is the council. And this will list all the expenses that are related to council and how we came up with those numbers. So I'm just going to scroll down. I'm not going to really touch each one, but maybe the notes. And if somebody has a question, just feel free to interrupt me, okay? So basically note number 1 is the public relations. Now, during one of our council meetings, we are suggesting that we are hosting the big kayaking event here in Beachburg, and we have set aside $5,000 for the flags for that event, as well as float banners of $350 each, and we need 2 of those. So that is where those numbers come from.
So it's 3 of last year's plus 5,700 this year. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Charlene, did you want me to just ask them or that's okay.
Councillor McLaughlin, you can probably see them.
Okay. Okay.
I'm looking down the phone.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, Marcia, the flags, those are the big flags that are out here?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, they're going to be the Whitewater region, the big Whitewater region flags, as well as we've.
So what are we going to do with them afterwards?
Well, we haven't had any flags. We will need to do an order. We haven't ordered any flags since I started here. So those flags have lasted this many years, and we are now out.
So are they the same size of flags as the ones that we had before?
I
Or are
believe.
these the great big ones?
Yes.
They're the same size as the ones that we put on the float last year on
Okay.
both sides.
That answers my...
And then also we're ordering, because there's a big parade with the children, we're ordering the little flags that are the waving size, whatever they call them, parade flags.
Yeah, and those little parade flags they won't be Canada, they'll be Whitewater region. Okay. Oh, sorry, Terry.
You only used a third of the 3,000 last year. Is there something in particular that makes you think you're going to use the whole 3,000 this year?
Well, that's why the cost of the flags are quite expensive, and the estimated cost right now is $5,000.
Yeah, you got 5,700 here, like Chris said, plus the suite for 8,700.
Yeah, well, that could be anything. That's also public relations is candy for the float. Trying to think of something that we've done in the past.
But you did save $2,000 last year on the budget. You used $998 from 3,000. Is that what I'm reading there?
Yes, yes. We only spent $998, and that was for the float decorations, buying new stuff for the decorations, as well as candy. And I really can't remember off the top of my head exactly what was all put in that one last year, but then the additional would just be for those little items.
Oh, okay, that's fine. There might be savings there, I think, is what I'm hearing. $2,000 maybe.
Okay.
Good, thanks.
Okay, so note number 2, these are the Sunshine Coach donation of $100. And if you look, we've provided you with a sheet, a donation request sheet. Okay. Now, the highlighted ones in yellow, there are 3 highlighted items in yellow, and those 3 are on, right now, their proposed budget. There we go. You just passed it, Terry.
Getting them well mixed up now.
Okay. And
Also in your package is a copy of our grant policy, the current policy that is on the books. Basically, that if groups are affiliated with the township, there is potential for a cash donation. Traditionally, Sunshine Coach, because that allows them to access the provincial gas tax money, because we don't have a transit system, and the Renfrew Seniors Games are two things that we have always given a donation to, and now this year, Whitewater Historical Society, who are associated with the township, have made a request. As per the policy, any other community group not affiliated, as in the other ones that are not highlighted, the current policy states that there could be an in-kind donation, such as a load of gravel or a garbage truck or something like that for an event, but not cash.
I read it, it says that council can choose to donate. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So, speaking of that donation request, just remember those three items that are highlighted are the only ones right now currently on the budget, okay, on the proposed budget. Okay?
Councillor McLaughlin?
Marcia, the Sunshine Coach donation, that needs to be done so they can
That's right.
access their gas tax.
That's
Is
right.
it gas tax?
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah. And that's why we've been doing that for so many years.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, and resolution will need to be passed just for that one. Now the Ross Historical Society grant of $2,000 is further down on the budget in the museum section. Okay, so this is just the two $100 donations that council always or has in the past given. Okay. Any questions on the council? No? Okay. So the Muskrat Lake Subcommittee, they were here and presented, and they are looking for a figure of $5,400 to help with the Muskrat Lake Committee. This is something that can be discussed now or and taken off. It's clearly up to council what you would like to do with this.
Now, I do have a letter from them formalizing this ask of that amount, $5,400. And just to note to you that as per the presentation that you heard from Brian Whitehead when he was in at our special meeting about the Watershed Council, their efforts are included in our official plan amendments. So the previous council decided that they would, even though they're not a part of the municipality, they are supported by the municipality. We give them the meeting space downstairs and we help them with their copying, and they did get a small grant in order to afford incorporation because their efforts are part of what we have committed to do in the official plan. That's the relationship.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Do you know where this money is earmarked for? What project?
I'll get you copies.
Councillor Olmsted.
Further to Councillor McLaughlin's suggestion, I'd like to see some type of a clause in the money that we can't just continue to do studies. We need some action. So I think I'd like to see some clause in there that it needs to be action oriented rather than continually study the issue.
Reid Miller.
I agree totally with Councillor Olmsted. There's a consensus out in the country there that we're studying, and now we're spending money. Apparently, I'm hearing out in Lake Dory doing stuff, and there were studies done, I'm led to believe, 15, 20 years ago that tells us 60% of the problems at the Snake River. Why are we not investing money right there? Doing something that actually will cut the phosphorus level in the lake. That's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. Okay?
Sounds good. Mayor Johnson.
Just a note on that. My understanding of the presentation is they were asking for money to have all of those studies interpreted so they could move forward on something that they have put in place. If that's the case, or even just part of this is used to get something going, then it's worthwhile. But we have to do something, but we have to have this, all of this information translated, and apparently when we do that, they will then be able to get grants. That was the understanding I was, in case I was wrong. But that's what they're going for, so that they can end up with grants to move forward. Go ahead.
And what are the grants going to do? Did they tell you that? Is it going to be for more studies, or are they going to start taking phosphorus out of the Snake River? That's my question.
I guess you'd have to ask them directly, but my understanding, according to the letter, they say they're seeking assistance. We're requesting $5,000 from the township to cover our capacity funding expenses for the current year. A summary of our critical funding needs are capacity funding and operating expenses of 15, data monitoring report of 5, and 2015 water quality sampling project of 30,000. So that I know there's also gone to other municipalities that are in the watershed and asked for $2,500 from each of those municipalities. The biggest one, of course, is it directly impacts Whitewater, and that's why we're asking for 5. They have to have the information to be able to apply for grants and to be able to have the knowledge of what they're going to do. I understand from their presentation as well that they were going to be moving forward with some sort of initiative at Snake River, as well as up the line, I think in Bromley Township. I'm not 100% sure of what the plan was, but they are starting to move that forward.
That's the Bishop Technologies BioCord Raft
Yes.
project that I believe that they're implementing because according to the conversations I've had with Mr. Whitehead, the message was loud and clear that there needed to be action in conjunction with the study.
Okay. Councillor McLaughlin.
Just to let you know, there has been money given by Civitan Club to cover the financing of the the sampling report, and there was money given to Algonquin College so that they could go ahead with their water sampling program. So I just to let council aware that's coming from the fishing derby money.
Now, it does say the grant request is $5,000 and not $5,400.
Yeah, the $400 is what we've already paid them in 2015. That was carryover from what they were allowed to spend in 2014. So then basically, they've used, yes, from last year's grant, so they've used up all their grants. So we had to pay them the $400.
So they were short $300, $308 from last year's grant.
Well, it was just left at the...
It was $3,692 versus $308 short of $4,000.
Because what they wanted to do was they wanted to put that, I guess, in type of a reserve here, but then they needed it. So at the end of the year, they needed that money.
Okay.
And we did not put it in a reserve. We didn't put it in a reserve. We just left it in that GL account.
Okay. And it's been carried forward with regards to the surplus.
Yes.
The overall surplus. So they're still in need of the $5,000 plus the $400, just to be clear.
No, they're just in need of the $5,000.
Reeve Miller, did you have a question?
Oh, no.
Okay. Mayor Johnson.
We can specify when we give them the $5,000 inlets for moving into the reduction of phosphorus. Can we not?
We can specify whatever we like, but once they get the money, they can do what they want.
Yeah. Well, let's just request it anyway. Right?
Reeve Miller?
Okay, I don't want to drag this out for everybody, but I would like to suggest, and it probably won't go over very well, I don't feel Whitewater is totally responsible for what happened to Muskrat Lake. It's happened by a lot of people. There's bigger government that had a play in this. I would suggest that we pay $2,500 for the same as the other ones until they go to removing the phosphorus and prove to us we have a good investment on our hands. That's my suggestion. And it sends the right message. We're all equally in this together, for what it's worth.
That's, what's your favorite?
I think the reason why they came up with the 5,000 and the 2,500 between the two is that it directly affects. I'm not backing them or whatever, but that was my understanding from their presentation. And I guess if they need further questions, we can, take the $5,000 out totally until they come forward. But to me, they've specified what they're going to do, and we can say, okay, here's 5,000 for a specific item, and definitely we can say that. But my concern is once the money is there, it's there.
That's why I'm suggesting $2,500. If we want to change our mind down the road, we could do it with a council meeting event. I wonder if it was taken into account the dividend when we were set with the 5,000.
I believe if you had, I don't know where I'm the one that is add up this information, but 15,000, 5,000, and 30,000 is a lot more than 5,000 and 2,500 from 4 municipalities. So obviously they did take it into consideration, but I'm just trying to, be a devil's advocate here. I'm not for or against. And what I would suggest is that we budget the $5,400. We only send them the $2,500 because it's not like a business. You have to raise the money in order to spend the money. So it's not like you can say, okay, 2,500. Well, now I'm going to add 2,500. Where are you going to get that 2,500? In 6 months' time. But what I would recommend, absolutely, send 2,500 now. Budget the 54. 400's already been spent. Send 2,500 and say that we want action with regards to what they're doing. We want some starting of the cleanup. And perhaps if Christine would like to prepare a motion to that effect for the next council meeting so that that will go forward.
I can totally budget it and be stingy giving it up until we get what we want.
Okay. Go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, and in that motion, which I'm happy to prepare for for next week's meeting, would you want a presentation of accountability for them to come back in and give us more detail about their plans, or what kind of a carrot and stick am I attaching to this motion?
Councillor Olmsted?
I would suggest, just as Reeve Miller had said, 2,500 would be to further their studies. The other 2,500 is action oriented, so no more studies. I've been told that they've already purchased devices to help clean up some of the issues, but those devices are not in use. So the devices that have been purchased they've purchased and they're in people's garages and that kind of thing. So these things need to be put to use now. So 2,500 to help further the studies. 2,500 would be clean the issue.
And we'd want some accountability for that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And perhaps they can come forward next Wednesday night and tell us what they're going to be doing with this equipment that they have or have not purchased. Councillor McLaughlin.
I just wonder if we shouldn't just keep on going here and then maybe have to come back and readdress this again, because we're running too long on tiny items. There's a lot to go through.
There is a lot to go through, and we're not even done half pages.
Exactly, and I think if we keep going this way, it's never going to happen. We're going to have to come back and look at this stuff at the end anyway. So, that's just my suggestion.
Thank you, Councillor McLaughlin. Go ahead,
Okay.
Marsha.
The next item, note number 4, the $10,000 that was budgeted is for the official plan and the OPA 11. And that's the estimated cost for the consulting and county fees while we negotiate with municipal housing and housing. Now that's just a rough estimate at this time. Now the next one, you'll note number 5, this just reflects more of an accurate cost of postage based on the actual 2014 figures.
So you'll see there's a reduction of $5,000 from the 2014 budget.
Yes.
In postage.
Computer expenses. We have a budget figure of $20,000 in there, your note number 6, and that is for a new server, as well as the 2 frontline computers need to be upgraded. Photocopier expense, note number 7. We are hoping that in the future, with the electronic change of agendas, we will be using less paper, which requires less photocopy. Now, note number 8, the elections expense, $1,200. That is to pay for data fix to maintain our voters list for 2018 election. Number 9 reflects more accurate number of bank charges. And the tax sale, number 10, note number 10. We are going to be changing the process. We're going to be contracting out the collections of tax sales, and that is no cost to the township.
So what you'll see on the revenue side as well is that it's an in and an out. So the tax sales, if we incur costs, typically I think Marsha or before Annette was dealing with the tax sales, and the intention I believe from Marsha is that she go to real tax, so that real tax after the whole process, the fees are about the same as what we would have charged in any of it, the township would have charged, and they go directly on the tax roll, and they're recouped through the tax sale process. If the property sells, or if they pay that off, they have to pay it off in order to clear title. So there'll be a revenue on one side and expense. So it could be $1, it could be whatever. It's an in and an out. It doesn't. You could budget what you like. Okay.
Okay, note number 11, that is a new line in our budget, and that is for economic development. So this is an estimated amount for any charges that relate to the economic development officer's duties. That could be paper or advertising or whatnot.
We also have a promotional video that Andrew, that was one of the ideas that he presented to council when he gave you the update of what he's been up to at the Economic Development Committee. Last year, we hadn't a line item for any of Andrew's projects. We just fit them into administration as we could. There was significant website upgrading for the InfoStation business database, which needs continued work throughout this year, as well as the video and business meetings, breakfasts, after work get-togethers that he's trying to encourage the business community to get to know each other, because they tend to isolate themselves in small businesses. Nobody's ever got any time to meet anybody and share best practices. So all of those things are in that line item.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the next line item is our capital expenditures for our administrative department, and that is an estimate of $10,000, and that is to purchase new council and staff iPads. Note number 13, we have, let's just say fund, not fun. We have an estimated $6,000 that we feel that we should be put into reserves. And then this will be going towards building our, basically, funds to fund the 2018 elections, instead of having to try and budget that number at that time of year.
Just saves having to budget the full $36,000 in 2018 for the election. It's something that I recommended to Marcia to put in the budget to offset some of the costs, spread it out over the 4-year cycle rather than all at once. Councillor Olmsted.
Can you just explain if I'm reading that right, it's $36,000 we had budgeted for 2014 and the actual election cost $114? Is that right?
Yep. Where is that? The elections?
Right on that same line?
Yeah, same line. Right there.
Oh, that's just transfer from reserves?
To pay for the election?
No, that could just be, we're just opening up a new one. This is just for, that could have been for anything that came out of the admin last year for reserve, and I'm just trying to think now off the top of my head.
Which would include some of the surplus, would it be?
The total cost of the election in sharing our software costs with Renfrew and Pembroke and Laurentian Valley, I believe, I'd have to go back and check the figures, Chris, but I believe it's in the $30,000 range. That also paid for all of our staff and the community volunteers who got a stipend.
But on break there, I'll go into that and I'll pull up that amount and I'll let you know what that is for. Note number 14, this is the debenture principal and interest charges that we were responsible for the 2015 year. And these figures are offset on the revenue side. We are actually collecting, $46,113 on the revenue side for these debentures. So, for the solar panel debentures.
And just a note, there was no charges in 2014 because the debenture wasn't filed until December, so that there'll be...
that includes the 2 payments.
Yeah, Annette had budgeted for 1 payment last year, and the debenture was filed late. Not late, it's just filed the way it was. And so therefore, there's 2 payments this year and none last year.
And then also, too, I provided you with a solar panel debenture information sheet, just to let you know on how that's going to play out for the next couple of years. Okay, note number 15 on the administration building part. This includes the telephone, and this includes a new phone system that we had to put in. Unfortunately, our phone system crashed, so we needed to upgrade. And we did get quotes from other organizations, such as NRTCO, who just simply told us they did not have time to do it. If you scroll down to note 16, we have a budget figure in there, just a little over $20,000. Now, this includes items such as the council chamber cameras, various building repairs. We have mold in the basement that we would like to get fixed. We have duct cleaning that needs to get done. What we would like to see done is a new door to the kitchen in order for staff to use the facility while there's meetings going on here. As well as we have a $5,000 roof deductible that we must pay. So that's in that figure.
Has the roof been fixed yet?
No, not yet.
Is there a planned date for that to be fixed?
I've talked to the appraiser twice, and they're still getting their information from the contractors who are quoting on it. The entire roof is going to have to be replaced, the flat roof. Apparently, just very briefly, there was enough water sitting on it that all of the insulation is waterlogged. So now when it rains, that's why we've had subsequent leakage events. Now when it rains and there's a buildup of water, it starts to squish down and the water's coming out. So thank heavens they didn't do the tiles first, because it's been leaking in various spots. So it's a much bigger job than anyone had anticipated, but I am working with the adjuster.
Was it not a fairly new roof with regards to the addition? Like, when this work was done, was it not completed then?
Yeah, but the problem was that the drain froze in the catch basin just outside of the office,
So it had
and the water
nothing
had
to do
nowhere
with
to go.
the construction? Okay, thank you.
And we did call the construction company, and they had a warranty only for 2 years.
Okay.
Unfortunately. All right, if you look at note number 17, this is for capital expenditures. Also, too, when we discuss capital items, they will also be showed here on your legal size sheets. Okay, and that for the administration, we have a customized ladder that we need to make, or have somebody make for us in order to access the rooftop. Now that was budgeted in 2015 for $11,500. It just didn't get done. It's already in the works of being made today. As well as we are rebuilding the back parking lot here, and we do have it's partially covered by a grant, an accessibility grant, but our share, which is 35% of the total of that project, is $14,223. So that's where that figure comes into play.
Okay, Marcia, when I look at your capital spreadsheet,
Yeah.
it looks like the parking lot is being fully funded by a grant. Should not the full cost of the parking lot be put in, and the grant actually be the other portion, and therefore the $14,000 actually ends up under the taxation instead of under grant?
Yes, you're right.
So the full cost
I will
of
change
the
that.
project, and then the $14,000, so that will increase your levy.
Yeah, I will change that there. Thank you.
Mayor Johnson.
That's the grant that we got $84,000 for? Was that not an $84,000 grant?
No, this grant was for $25,000.
Oh, okay. Yes, okay. I just trying to get that straight in my mind. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, so the next one is the fire department. So I'll just scroll down. Wayne is here. Yes, Wayne is here to answer any questions that you may have. We'll scroll down then to note number 18, inspections. And this is for fire alarms and carbon monoxide detector inspections that we will have our inspectors go out. And that would be the cost of that.
And is that salaries?
That is part of, yes, that is strictly his salaries, their salaries.
So will it come out of that line item? Because if it's salaries, then they should get T4 for it, right? So
Oh, yes, and it does. It actually gets coded to fire inspections and doesn't go into the salary section of it.
Okay.
We have a separate line.
Reeve Miller.
Okay, here again, we used half what we were budgeted for that, and we're going right back to the full amount for the budget for this. Is there any obvious explanation why we used half what we budgeted? Like, we did a good job, I'm sure, but why did we only use half the budget and now we're looking for the full budget again, would be my question.
It's my understanding, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, that now that mandatory carbon monoxide detectors are in place, that there'll be a lot more inspection work to be done.
And saving from last year, when we went for 18,000, I'm just curious, because we want to do more than that. I'd like to know how we budgeted 18 and did it for, what is it, 8 or something? Half.
You'll have to come up and use the mic, please.
Terry, it was my understanding that on the 742 or 7442, that some of the 200 original salaries that inspections were taken out of both sides. But this year we dedicate strictly, any inspections will be coming out of that GL account only.
Okay, I didn't quite understand. It was taken off 2,700, what are the 2,900?
The original, it was taken the salary. Now it's the inspection, which is still salary, but it's strictly for the inspectors. If they do an inspection, it's only coming out of that account. It always came out of my 200, like the salary account. And that's my understanding as to why we didn't. We actually spent more, but it's over 2. You see where it says 200?
Okay, I was looking for the salary that's up top. Okay.
Yeah.
You can wonder on that.
We didn't really. Well, we were down in fire last year as well, and
There's no control over
Yeah.
salaries with regards to fires. It's when the fires happen.
No, I'm when it just popped out. I wanted to kind of hear why. We got to learn how to do more of that. You did a good job, I guess.
Okay, so note number 19, that reflects more of the actual cost compared to the budgeted amount for 2014. So we've dropped that by half. I'm just going to scroll down. Now, note number 20, legal. This is a new line item in the GL. We will be, if there's any legal bills, we will be coding them to this line. In the past, it has just gone to the administration side of it. So now if it's for fire, it will be directed to the fire GL. Services and rent, note 21. We no longer are paying for a storage unit for the old fire truck, so we're just going to keep the $500 in there as opposed just in case we come up and then we need an item or we need a piece of equipment stored somewhere. Daryl?
Just going back to the legal
Oh, sure, yeah.
end of it, and you said that used to come out of, and I take it come out of administration, legal fees. So are we dropping the administration by $5,000 so that this money's being put in there, or what's, or is this just another
This is just another
$5,000?
line item, yeah.
So, and the other one's going to stay just as it was?
That's right. We haven't had nothing for fire yet. Just small amounts. So for going forward for 2015, we will be putting it in the legal side of the fire GL. We have not received any invoices.
Okay, I just, if it was $5,000 came out of one spot before, and now the $5,000 is staying there, and we're going to put $5,000 in here as well?
Yeah.
There's an ongoing issue right now, Councillor McLaughlin, and that's why.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is if it came out of one account, it's going back to another account.
It didn't come out of one.
It's fine.
Councillor Olmsted.
I think it's fair to say it wasn't budgeted before, but now it's being budgeted.
That's right.
So it's not 5,000 coming out of one going to another.
That's right.
Right, so it wasn't budgeted previously.
That's right.
I think what you told me though, any that came out of administration?
For small amounts.
Okay.
We may have had a small, for an outstanding one, it was very small.
Okay.
But going forward though, it will be put into that GL.
Okay.
So there was really, when I said the administration side, there is not a lot for the fire in the administration side of a legal, on the legal line.
That totally clears it up for me then. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so did 21. Okay, so note number 22. This is $4,000, $2,000 less than the budgeted amount for 2014. Most of the all of the crew now are equipped with their personal protective equipment. This is just mainly for repairs, ripped shirt or pants that we go and we send off to get fixed. Breathing apparatuses. Now, note number 23. Perhaps maybe Wayne could just touch on this one here. This is for the fire hydrant repairs. And I believe that's for Elliott Street.
Yeah, we're proposing this year to There are no hydrants, there's quite a distance between hydrants on Elgin Street and Beachburg, and it's my understanding that I'm talking with Bill, it's about $12,000 for, I'm not sure if it's one hydrant, Bill, or two. One hydrant, yeah. So we're proposing to put that in. It was in previous budgets, but we just never got around to doing it. This year we want to put it in Elgin Street and Beachburg.
And that would be a fairly accurate cost for a hydrant.
Okay, so note number 24, Haley Fire Department would like to purchase an extrication equipment at around $2,500. Truck expense is down $5,000 in note 25 due to the new truck. This is hard to estimate because you never know if trucks will break down or not. Hoping not, but he wants to budget for a certain amount in that line.
Reed Miller.
Yes, it's I can't even say it. Extrication equipment. What specifically is it? Some information about there. We just bought all that for Haley not long ago. I will learn her today too.
Extrication. Haley's are looking for a stabilization bar. We have in Cobden we have set, and now we want to have a set in Haley's. They're totally different. It's when a car is on the side, we want to stabilize it. This tool, it's more than one piece. It's several pieces. We can stabilize without having to use the wooden pegs.
So this is brand new equipment that we've never had.
Brand spanking new.
See need for it, and that's what
I do. Yeah.
And the other fire stations don't have a need. Most of your accidents are out of Haley.
No, Cobden and Haley's both have extrication. They have the heavy and the light. The stations in the country just have working tools. Cobden and Haley's have the actual life and the airbags and everything. Now, I could say Cobden has a small set of bags, but Haley's has a large set. We can lift transport. We try not to buy duplication equipment. But this type, Cobden has a similar tool, but not the same. And this will be for interior and stabilization.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so building repairs and maintenance, note 26. You'll notice on your capital schedule, they're proposing to repair the training room at the Beachburg Station, as well as paving the front yard at the Beachburg Station. Both of these items were in the 2014 budget, raising taxation, and the money was transferred to reserves at the end of 2014. So those projects should be done, and they will be taken out of reserves to pay for them. The only one that was not, the new one on this list is the paving yard at the the Forces Falls Fire Station, and that's budgeted for $20,000.
Any questions?
Okay, so note 27, if you look as well as on the capital sheet, underneath the fire department, this is for paying back $80,000 of unfinanced portion of the new fire truck that they bought in 2013, as well as BAs for Haley's, bunker suits, coveralls, high volume hose, and Cobden tank work. Now, all of those items were budgeted in 2014, were not done, and transferred to fire reserves, so therefore they should be done this year and they will come out of the reserves.
Any questions? Councillor McLaughlin.
So the $80,000, that's not part of what's in reserve, is it?
No, but they put $40,000 a year into the reserves to pay that, pay the $80,000.
We're paying back from the debenture that we took, is that?
There is no debenture, it's unfinanced.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's just coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see that line item for probably another year or two?
Another two.
2 more years of $80,000 for that truck that was purchased. And what they did is they just didn't borrow for it. They're just taking it as unfinanced, and the
Budgeting.
it goes down each year.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne.
I'm sure there'll be more questions once we come down to the bottom line as to what moves forward and what doesn't. And we see the bottom line.
Okay. So note number 28, the police requisition that the township owes is $721,683. Now, please note that we do have a credit of $53,035 for the 2014 reconciliation year, and that figure is put into there.
So it's already accounted for?
Yes.
So the original cost for the OPP costing?
Just have to add that up.
Okay.
Yeah. $774,718.
So in the event that we don't get a reconciliation next year, you're going to see that increase, the 53,000 plus an additional increase because it's going up 5% every year with those municipalities that were capped. Okay. Just so you understand that there is $53,000 credit from 2014, but there's no guarantee from year to year what your credit's going to be. Councillor McLaughlin.
When you look at the figure from last year, Marcia, does that take into consideration the reduction, the amount that we got paid back? We actually used, what is it? I can't even say it. 607,000?
Yes, 600. Now, in the 607,000, in that one we'll show the 2013 reconciliation amount, because we always get them later once the books are closed.
So Mark just received the 53,000 notification just last week.
Mm-hmm.
So she was, but if we had done the budget 2 weeks ago, she wouldn't have had it. So seeing that probably Annette had the figure done.
I'm following exactly what you're saying, because what you're telling me, that this is what we budgeted, then we got the money back from the 607,000, right?
That's right.
Next year it won't happen.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. Christine?
There's an unpredictable call for service element to this costing as well, that there's billing for, it just depends on what goes on and how many times the police are called out.
Okay.
Okay, so note number 29, this is $15 is being set aside for mandatory emergency management staff training. And last year we didn't send anybody, and this one is actually outside of Renfrew County.
If I may comment, Erica's been to several, as our community emergency management coordinator. There is new mandated training for council and staff coming down the pipe from Emergency Management Ontario.
Councillor McLaughlin?
Is there any funding coming with that?
No. Not that we're aware of.
Okay, so note number 30, a $600 is going to go towards the Red Cross assessment of evacuation sites for Whitewater region. So they will come in and they will assess our buildings, that's the ones that we're going to be using in case of an emergency. And if we have 2 sites, it's $300 each. So we're looking right now at 2 sites.
They do a great assessment for $300. It's well worth it.
Yeah. And this year, note 31, we are going to start a reserve for emergency, and we are going to start with $1,000.
I'd just like to comment as well, if I may, that we had a microburst event within the last week. You know, again, an unpredictable factor of municipal life is the weather. So we thought it was prudent. We've never had money being transferred into an emergency reserve, and we decided it was time that we started it with a very modest amount.
Okay, on to the building department. I'm just going to scroll down. There we go. The note number 32, and that's the capital expenditure, and that is going to be for a new custom-made work and mapping counter in the sitting area by the council chambers. It will hold all of the maps, and it will give Doug some privacy with the taxpayers coming in, and they can have their maps opened and discuss items. Yes, true. They are down. Doug is down in the basement, so we have a emergency fire door there, and often they sit there and they talk. So this way, that door will be opened in case there's an emergency. Okay, so note number 33. So we're down to animal control. Livestock killed. That is just an estimated number. We don't know from day to day, so we're just using the 2014 budgeted amount.
And that's an in and an out.
That's right.
So you receive the funds from the province, and again, it could be budgeted at $1. Mm-hmm. It's budgeted as revenue as $18,000 and $18,000 as expense. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Number 34. Okay, so number 34 is a zoning bylaw review. Now, that is set at $8,800, and that's once the official plan is passed, work needs to be done on the new zoning bylaw.
And that's to consolidate all of the various bits and pieces of zoning bylaws that Doug's been working with. We have contracted the county to help us with this work. We also got figures from market value, and the county is willing to do this work for us at 1/3 of what hiring a private consultant would cost us.
Okay, go ahead, Marcia.
Okay, so now we're getting to the roads. Okay, so you'll see on line number note 35, we have 2 part-time staff for the months of June right through to November, and 2 summer students positioned. And we did that on a separate line item so that council can see the cost.
I guess my question would be, why do we need 2 part-time staff members and students when we have 11 staff members?
We used to do 4 summer students, and 2 years ago, council agreed we could try to do 2 part-time staff in the summer to cover off holidays, because the part-time staff has truck licenses to be able to drive when our regular staff is off on holidays. So in our holidays right now, I don't have the exact number, but we have quite a few holidays taken throughout the summer, and that's when they're asked to take them, not in the wintertime when it's snowplow season. So it worked pretty good that year, and last year we tried to do it with them, and we didn't get the work complete that we thought we could have. Even with the contractors, it's to do coal patching, flagging. The students usually look after that, but it's many different things. But as I said, the part-time truck drivers in the summertime, that's what their main purpose is to be able to drive trucks when the regular staff is off on holidays.
And what is the cost difference per hour between a student rate and a labor rate? Truck driver. Because it would be more expensive, and does this continue on into the fall, or is this just for the summer months?
Well, the last time we did it right up until we got the winter sound in. And so that's usually late October. We try and have it in before November.
Okay, perhaps it's something that we can look at later on when we're looking at reducing some costs. And with 11 staff, as long as they're, you know, they're not taking holidays all at the same time. And
No, that's part of the problem too. When you go to do a project, if you have 2 guys off, you need 10 to run all the equipment that you've got. You're short 2 or 3 staff, so that's where the part-time guys slipped in and helped out.
Councillor McLaughlin.
I don't think the students drive the tractor, mow the lawn, mow the sides or anything.
No.
They just basically do your coal patch.
And flagging duties.
Because I looked at last year and the projects that we had to rebuild the roads didn't happen.
Not all of them, no.
No, they did not, because we didn't have the manpower to do it. And
well, we tried to go a different way last year, more contracting out than our own staff. Yeah.
So
it's a balancing act.
So it balanced out. Then it would be as much.
Most of it's weather dependent.
Yeah. No, I guess the word I was contracting. Are you intending to do some more? Well, just depends.
Just depends.
Okay. Because I think it needs to go. Like I see November in there, and I see hunting season, because I know that's a problem.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
The one thing that if you're going to hire two people, they better not be hunters.
Can't discriminate like that, Daryl.
They do in the bus industry.
I would like to see them more on an on-call basis. I mean, once you have your construction going and if you need them, rather than hire them and have them here 5 days a week.
The thought last time was to get them enough hours to attract good people, to get them on, like to have a part-time staff that could qualify for unemployment at the end of the summer.
At the end of the summer, not into the fall.
Well, summer for me runs from 2 weeks ago till snow. That's what I call summer. It's winter and summer to me.
In other municipalities, they kind of do it the opposite way, where they hire part-time snowplow operators to fill in the event that somebody goes off sick or is on holidays, and they're on an on-call basis rather than 5 days a week.
We could do that too.
I wouldn't say as well, but I've never heard of anybody hiring for the summer months to do construction. Anyways, go ahead. Mayor Johnson.
We need to have the schedule. We can correlate some of the work to the projects, and then an indication, I think, of what has to be with extra manpower, what can be determined with the manpower we have, and so on and so forth. We're going to be asking a lot this summer, and Bill might just be right on the money there.
Then I expect that the work will be done, not like last year that the work didn't get done.
All the work will have to be done, yeah.
It's weather dependent, like.
So if it's weather dependent,
and I worked all day Monday. You just have
Tuesday, Wednesday jobs.
Anyway, let's go down the line.
what do you do in the event of weather whenever you have the extra men on? Do you send them home?
No, actually that year that we did do that, we had a good summer and we got a lot of work done. But like Monday when it was raining, I had 2 crews out after the microburst cutting trees off roads. There's always lots of jobs to do. Always lots to do.
Okay. We'll see lots of things happening then on the roads this summer. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so note number 36, if you scroll down there, note number 36, that is for the radio renewal license as well as each truck, their sticker license for MTO. Note number 37, we estimated a little bit less than the 2014 budgeted amount. Kind of go more towards the actual. Now, diesel prices stayed the same. So this one was a little bit more challenging to estimate because it could go up and it could go down. Hopefully it stays down, but so we budgeted $180,000.
Reed Miller.
Could I ask, who supplies the township with diesel, and is it stocked around?
We've been using the same contractors since, Hal, when did you start with? So we use Dunbar for the Ross garage and Ultramar for the Westmeath garage. And those contracts just kept going. We're looking at tendering out fuel this year. We have a tender just about ready to go.
Perfect, because I think that will be a worthwhile process. Thank you.
Note number 38, for the $3,000, that is for CPR training for the roads crew in 2015. Note number 39, this was based on kind of more of an actual figure from 2014. Again, it's $30,000 less than the 2014 budgeted amount. It's hard to pick this one. We hope we don't have any repairs. We do have older vehicles. So it's just one of those items that were a little bit more tricky. Note number 40. This is on your capital project spreadsheet. This is for garage doors at the Ross garage, as well as painting, all sorts of repairs. That was budgeted in 2014. That did not get done. Money was put in reserve, so therefore it will be on the budget this year to get done. And just to let you know that we have started on the Ross garage, and we've had some cleaning, some painting done, so it's on its way.
Is that on your capital list there, Marcia?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Okay. Note number 41. This is for equipment rental for $70,000. Now, would you like to speak about that one?
We do usually rent a tractor in the summer for doing road construction and various other pieces that we don't have. One that was brought up to me that we may be looking at renting this summer is a large excavator with a rock hammer on to do some rock hammering. It's things like that, plus if we do some gravel with some belly dumps this year, it would cover that. It's various equipment rentals. Even though we have a lot of equipment in the township, there are times that we do have to go out and rent contractors' equipment as well that we don't have.
Do you have a costing on the repair of the sweeper?
At this time, I don't actually, because the sweeper that we have rented right now is actually a pickup sweeper, and we don't have one of those.
Okay, what about the other sweeper that is broken?
At this time, I don't have. The mechanic's still looking into it.
And it broke last year?
It broke last year. We decided with the last council to go ahead and contract out the in-town sweeping, and we were doing the out-of-town sweeping just with the sidewalk machine with the broom on it. We're doing that again this year. Right now, he's down in the Haley area, I believe. So what we do is last year and this year, we've been picking up in the towns as well as the built-up areas in the country to try and keep that big mound of dirt on the side of the road off, rather than just sweeping the dirt to the side of the road and leaving a big mound there that traps the water on the road. That's why we've got the pickup broom working at some of the more built-up areas in the country.
I appreciate it going by my place, because it was a sand pit. But at some point this year, I think we need to look. I mean, the sweeping obviously is pretty much done for the year, but perhaps we should look at the cost of replacing that other one, and maybe instead of replacing or fixing that other one, is what is the cost of having our own compared to renting? Not to say that we need to buy one, of a pickup one, but what is the actual cost of one? Because I have no idea what it costs to rent for the amount of time that And I think this year's cost would be a good factor because there was so much sand on the roads this year. So it would certainly give us a good factor at an extreme sort of thing, what it cost for them for rental, as opposed to what it would cost to buy one.
Yep.
See what the cost savings would be.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, note 42, we don't keep machine time. Note 43, this is the cost that will be budgeted for repair on the railway crossings in Whitewater Region. Note number 44, that includes various signs replacements throughout the township, as well as the 3 radar signs that were discussed last year. And last year's council suggested we put on this year's budget, so it's on this year's budget.
Councillor Olmsted?
Yeah, sorry, just back to the railway crossing maintenance. So do the railways have some sort of an onus to return that back to proper roads?
Yes, they do, and that started a couple of years ago, and I believe it was last year or the year before, they decided because the line wasn't being used anymore, they were not fixing the road anymore. So we went to them and said, well, if you're not going to fix the road, pay us to do it. So it took most of the summer last year to come into an agreement with them where they would actually pay us to tear out the crossing and fix it. I believe we're getting $5,000 per hard surface crossing and $3,000 for gravel crossing. So when we talked about it last year, one like Powers Road, where there's a big hump, when they came through or come through to do it, they just paved the width of the tracks where we could put the $5,000 towards taking the hill out of there and fixing it properly. So it was late last fall before we finally got an agreement, and then I think it was early winter before we actually got paid. So, and I didn't want to do the work until we got paid because I didn't want to get stiffed, and then, so we have the money. I think it went into reserves last year for this project.
Okay, so note number, so 44 was the radar signs and sorry. Sorry.
How bad do we need radar signs?
Councillor McLaughlin?
The radar signs that you're talking about, Bill, do they not, they detect speed? They also take traffic count. Is that not correct?
They do, and it's not all.
Is that correct? Traffic count?
The 25,000 is not totally for the radar signs. That's also to do sign replacement and to get our sign reflectivity tested again this year because of the new minimum maintenance standards. We have to have them done every 16 months. So I can't remember off the top of my head what the cost for the signs were. I believe
$10,660
for the 3 signs that council, I think they passed a resolution last year.
They did in September.
Yeah, so I was asked to put that in the budget this year as well.
Councillor Olmsted.
So I made a mental note to go back and review policing as it's going to be an extreme cost to the taxpayers over the next few years. So further to that, is there a chance that these radar signs could relieve the necessity to have policing in some of these areas? So further reducing our need to have police actually enforcing speeds.
Well, I believe the radar detection equipment just reflects it. It's not one of those signs that says you're going blah 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 50 43. It does.
Yeah.
It actually shows that cost.
Yeah, it does speed count, time of day speed. So say
It flashes at the person to say that they're doing that.
But it's not very big. It's only a small one. The thought was that if you say Rapid Road, we get calls complaining, lower the speed limit, they're driving too fast. We go out, put one of those up, we get the accurate traffic count, and then we would say, okay, we're getting 3 cars at 1 o'clock in the afternoon that are driving 110, or no, we're not getting any cars that are driving over 80 kilometers an hour. I'm sorry, you must be mistaken. Cars are not driving that fast down your road. That was part of the reasoning behind looking into these radar signs.
Mayor Johnson.
Can we not get away with one?
I would say one for a start. We were looking at buying one last year and then doing two this year. It worked out. Actually, last year Horton was supposed to put on a presentation with a Canadian provider, but it never went through. So that's why we didn't get one last year. But I would say one for this year if you want to change the resolution.
It's, the other thing too is, we are welcome to use the one the OPP have at our discretion anytime we want.
Part of the thing was to get the traffic counts.
It does traffic count.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor McLaughlin?
Try and get it.
Yeah, well, that's it.
I've been asking for, I don't know how many years to get it on the Grand Island Road, and I don't think it's ever shown up there yet that I know of. I'm totally in favor of having our own. Two things. When we get a request for a road, every road that wants to have work done on it has a pile of traffic. When somebody comes here, our road's busy, there's a pile of traffic on our road. Well, this will eliminate that because we can put it there and we will have our data. And that's what we can base our decisions on. So I think this is something we really need because there's going to be a lot of hard decisions to be made. And if we don't have the correct data, then it's very hard to make a decision when you don't have the data in front of you. So I'm quite in favor of having at least one, as Mayor Johnson says, maybe one this year, and put it in the budget for next year for a second one.
Mayor Johnson?
The OPP have changed how they deal with that fine, and they will drop it off any road you want, and then the roads department can look after it to their discretion after that. If you request it, you just phone Renfrew, request the sign, they will deliver it, show you how to set it up, and then you can you can move it or they can move it, and then you just monitor it. That was what they assured us they were going to.
Good.
But I'm still in favor of getting one this year.
And what about all the signs that need to be replaced for reflectivity, or how are we doing there with regards to that audit? We've had the audit before?
Audit last year, yes.
And how did that fare? Were there a number of signs that need to be replaced?
Yeah, there was. I believe most of them were replaced last year.
Okay.
So if we're going to cut it, I think
So could we cut it by 10 grand?
I would say probably.
And just order one for now. But I think it's important to note as well with regards to asset management and your road conditions and road assessment, you need to have the numbers to be able to assess your roads and set speed limits and all of that factors too. So cut it by 10. Happens a lot.
Okay, so 45 is repair of many culverts in the Whitewater Region area.
Do you have a plan of attack with regards to where you're going to be replacing culverts?
We have a number of culverts that need to get redone this year, yes.
I would agree.
Yeah.
There's been a number of culverts that have had been done for a number of years, so it'll be nice to see those done.
Yep.
Okay, note number 46, tree trimming. We hire a contractor for that.
Do we have a piece of equipment that does that? Do we have staff that have?
This is for problem trees that need to get like a crane in to do, some of them in town that are close to hydro wires. Any of the ones out in the country that our staff can do, we do look after, but these are for very problem trees, I guess you would say, or hard.
If they're close to hydro wires, Hydro 1 does those. Unless Hydro 1 does them.
Hydro 1 will do them sometime. They'll take them down, and then we have to
get rid of them.
That's part of the cost. And on the other side of the road, where they're gonna fall in somebody's house and their hours, we have to look after the entire cost.
Yep.
So that would be in that,
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's more for ones that I don't feel comfortable having our staff do, where we have to get a crane in and whatnot like that.
Okay. Reeve Miller?
Bill and I went to look at one of these. We got one we're open that's coming out like this summer, right, Bill?
Yep.
It is, right?
Yep.
That's where we ended up?
Yep.
So already we're in.
As long as you give me the money and the budget to do it.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. That's what I say.
Is it at your place? Is it at your place?
Okay, number 47 is the gravel. That is to purchase raw gravel out of the pit and have it crushed. Okay, number 48. The storm sewers, budgeted $10,000 for ditching and catch basins around the areas. 49, this is possible poison ivy control on Lapa Bay Road. I believe in the, I'll let actually Bill.
There was supposed to be a letter come into council. The residents of Blackwell Bay Road, or some of them, have requested we do poison ivy spraying in the ditches. So I didn't know where else to put it, because I didn't have anything for weed control or whatnot, so it costs, what did I have for a number? No, for per kilometer, $2,000 per kilometer approximately. But now before we go and do it, or I'd hope the letter would have come to council already. There's a whole lot of issues with spraying poison ivy or spraying anything in our ditch lines. The stuff they were using, it's strong stuff, it kills everything. I contacted the person at Aquas Bay about this, and I told them, like, there'll be nothing left when we're done spraying for poison ivy. It's a professional, it's weed man that I contacted about doing it. And you know, I said there will be nothing left, vegetation at all. And he seemed quite happy with that as long as the poison ivy was gone. So, unfortunately, the letter hasn't come to you yet. But when it does, you know, miscellaneous, it's not only for that, but that's one of the spots that I thought this would go to. It's also for unforeseen things that, you know, they pop up through the year.
Is Lacqua Bay Road not a county road?
No, it's ours.
It's the township's road?
Yeah. Okay. And it's down Lacqua Bay Road, Greenway Drive. It's
down further.
Yeah.
Councillor McLaughlin, did you have a question?
I'm just wondering, Bill, what's going to happen, because we've had requests before about wild carrot and wild parsnip and things like that.
Absolutely.
Are we going to, you know, I guess what I'm saying, if we do for one, are we going to end up having to do for the other?
That's why I'd hoped the letter would have came.
Yeah, I
already.
think we need to have the discussion before it's put into the budget.
So,
Councillor Mackay?
I was just saying, I mean, that's, once you put that on a ditch, everything else will be affected by it. It's near the river. We'd be spraying in the ditch if we went to the river then.
yeah.
So that's one to walk in the ditch. No, really. You don't walk a poison ivy.
Well, I'm just wondering what the liability is for the township to clean up poison ivy. I'm not aware, and I'm not saying that it hasn't been done in other municipalities, but I'm just not aware that spraying has ever been done. Are you aware, Hal? Like, from when you were here?
I think we sprayed poison ivy, spot sprayed poison ivy in 2001 to 2003, and then we were approached by lobby groups, and we ceased to spray. That's my memory serves me. It's a tremendous problem for the people that have it, but it's perceived as even a bigger problem for the people that go by and are affected indirectly. So yes, it would take a big decision. A lot of discussion.
So it's probably not one that we're going to be able to make this year. It'll have to come to committee and be done next year possibly. So I would say cut that number by
The 35,000.
Well, not a
Well,
whole
whatever
kilometer, I would say probably 10,000, because that's, 2,000 per kilometer, that's,
Okay, that's what you're
So-
budgeting for.
yeah.
Okay. There's a weed inspector at the county. Has anybody contacted them with regards to what our responsibilities are?
There is a new list for noxious weeds this year, but poison ivy is not on it.
Kind of answers the question there, doesn't it? Okay. No.
We've had the weed inspector out when there were possible cases of giant hogweed,
Yes.
suspected cases of it. That's when we get him involved.
Councillor
If
McLaughlin?
I may, I remember being at a presentation now, I won't say how many years ago, and it was the weed inspector that came here, because they're also our weed inspector.
Absolutely. Yes.
So he came and did a presentation, and maybe we can have him back again to enlighten this council if we wish.
Sure.
Okay, note number 50, if you look on your capital schedule, you will see the equipment that has been budgeted for the roads department for 2015. You will see that there is a calcium truck for 30,000 as well as a sand dome replacement project for $120,000. Now, those two projects were budgeted in 2014. Sand dome was only budgeted though for $80,000 last year. Now it's come in at $120,000. So those projects will be coming out of reserves, and then the balance of the sand dome of $40,000 will need to be raised in taxation. And then you also have the replacement of two trucks, truck number 10 and truck number 9, at a $235,000 each. At this point, not sure how to finance it. Just put in taxation for now, but there could be discussions on that.
Councillor Olmsted?
Yeah, sorry, I think it's important to note it's a calcium tank, not a calcium truck. The tank is to hold materials until the calcium truck gets back there, right?
Mayor Johnson?
I'm going to right away suggest we only go for one truck. Go for another one next year. We can decide later if we want to do ordering of the second truck for delivery in January. And go with it that way. We'll have it soon. I know the trucks quite well, and I know they're not in good shape. But I really think we better go back step on that.
Yeah, and I think that at the end of it, when we look at what we need to cut back on than the actual number, there's going to be a lot of discussion with regards to some of these items on the capital list. So, Councillor McLaughlin, did you have another?
I did. Bill, have you done the inspection on your sand dome in Westmeath?
We haven't had a chance to get it.
No, I realize it's on here, but I'm looking at the inspection because is it worth putting a new cover on it, or should we bite the bullet? And how much more would the cost be to have something that's, going to...
At this point, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to get anybody to check the structure up above.
Yeah, we had that discussion before, and
Yeah.
And I'm slanting that way. Like, I agree. I know it's a lot of money, but in my mind, is it good money that we're spending? Are we spending good money after bad, and the structure?
As long as the structure's okay, I think recovering it would be the best option.
Okay.
And then try in the near future to get something built at the Ross garage to get more material under cover there.
Okay.
But until I'm able to get somebody out there and physically get up and make sure that it's okay, or if it is bad, we can still patch it up good enough to recover it.
So
We should get 30 years out of another tarp.
okay, so
Going
what
on
you're
there.
saying is you're comfortable then with this budgeted figure?
I think I am,
Okay,
and I hope it comes in lower.
Mayor Johnson?
I think if you put out a contract, make the, as part of the contract, that they have to determine the strength of the, structure, that will reduce the cost substantially.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a structure out in the Westmeath area, so you're not traveling back and forth, wasting gas, just going back and forth to get material, you know? 'Cause to keep it going there in Westmeath and to cover it and to continue it on.
At one point we were talking about, was it gonna be cheaper just to build a whole new structure out there than to recover the one that we have yet?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, note 51, road construction major. That is the top of your second capital sheet. So you will see $2 million in road construction projects that were brought forward for the 2015 year. Rapid Road, as well as Cornerview, as well as St. Augustine. Those three projects were in the 2014 budget, so they should be on the 2015 budget and be completed. Grant Settlement Road is on there, $990,000, as well as Brumley Line surface treatment of $260,000 and Snake River line at $462,000. Cornerview was already in the 2000. There's Rapid Road and Cornerview and St. Augustine. That's okay.
So the new ones that are on the list really are the ones that we can talk about, because the other ones were budgeted for and money was transferred into reserves for those items to be done. I think we had talked about that before. I see a note on Snake River Line, using 2014 and 15 gas tax allotments, balance to be raised by taxation. Is that one where the amount to do Snake River Line is actually higher than the $462,000, or is it?
Using balance to be raised on taxation. Sorry, I'm not sure. I don't believe that line, that information should have been there.
That comment?
Yeah, no. Please disregard that comment.
Okay. Councillor Olmsted?
Yeah, so for the settlement, was that the portion we talked about? And there's a few discussions we had about just doing doing a portion including the extra little bit over the railway bed, and then doing the whole thing. So what's the 990?
So that, Councillor McCoy and I took a drive out there last week, and we started right at the intersection of Foresters Falls Road. The actual train track, we've already got money set aside to do that. So that one, the first part of the road to Rafting Road is HL4 covered with tar and chip. So that would have to be ground up. That's probably about 0.8 of a kilometer. But as we went ahead up, then we just get into a double surface street. And every time we got to a spot where we thought we could skip, we stopped and got out and physically looked at the road. And do you want to speak about it, Dave?
Yeah, there's this in the road like this. There's ruts right in that road, like almost grooves in the road. And it's some places almost a foot deep. You have to get a look at it to really see that. But the road's bad. And not everywhere, but there's big chunks of the road that should be done over.
And what we found was the southbound lane would be really good, but the northbound lane would be terrible. The side of the road was collapsing off.
So is this just the road to 0.8?
No, sorry. This is to go to just past Fletcher Road, where the actual event will be taking place, is what I've been told.
Okay.
So it's 11 kilometers of the road. This is also a price for getting a contractor in to do it. because with the other projects I have to do this year and the time restraints, I don't think I'd have time to do it. So then I went back over the road again and looked again at the spots that I thought we could skip. And the next problem I had was if we skip these couple of spots, what is the heavy construction equipment going to do to those spots in between? So my suggestion would be to start at Forester Falls Road and maybe do 4 kilometers of it this year. That would get you up around Dip Burner Road. I know it's not the whole thing, but at least we're getting a start on the road.
Yeah, I think we need to cut down the sections a little bit
Yeah.
more. I don't think there's any way that we can do
Absolutely,
the
but
whole road.
I just needed
Yeah.
you to have that information.
Yep.
Contractor's price is approximately 42,000 per kilometer. That will cover the first part being actually ground up, and 6 inches of gravel, replacing some of the cross culverts as needed, as well as putting a new double surface treatment on top of it.
So 4 kilometers, that's $168,000.
That's doable, I would say.
Councillor McLaughlin and Councillor Olmsted.
Bill, if my recollection is right, that whole Grand Settlement Road was rebuilt by the county in about 1980. Do you have any figures that would go back?
I don't have them that far back. I know when the county gave it back, money was given to the two townships as payment in lieu, I guess you would say, for taking the road back.
I remember they took the road on to rebuild it, and then it was given back. And I'm thinking that how long do culverts last? I guess is what I'm going to ask.
It depends.
There's no real figure then.
I've seen them last
Okay.
30 years. I've seen them last 4 years.
I drive Grand Settlement Road every day. Actually, I've seen you two gentlemen out there discussing with somebody else, actually.
Yes.
As well. Okay, I think that was another issue.
Actually, Dave and I thought we could do 11 kilometers and take it from Parks and Rec for tourism money.
Well, on all truth of this, and being that way, you're speaking like that, but is that not the way Rafting Road was resurfaced? If my recollection is correct on that, and it was done at the very same time, you know that for a fact. It was done when Grand Settlement Road was redone. The two projects were done the same, one incoherent, where in the other road.
Rafting Road's HL4 though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, say that they came in.
I think they came in and they went down Rafting Road. I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back and check in my books, because my book sometimes to get back that far it gets a little foggy. But it's not right off, I know that. I travel it every day, and I wonder, government road, boy, there's some parts in there that I think needs to be looked at as well. I agree with what you're saying, is do a portion of it, if you're going to do any of it. Thank you.
What's the process for a request for proposal, and how long would it take to get it back from somebody?
To do the road? To be quite honest, I haven't done one. We've always done the work ourselves. 2 weeks? 2 months? 2 weeks?
No, 2 weeks.
You put it out and phone people that you have it on, you can email it to them.
Yeah.
Give them 2 weeks. Their estimator can't give you something in 2 weeks, you don't want them.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Councillor Olmsted?
So that may be something we look to do. Is I do know that work isn't really plentiful out there. I do know there's some contracts up in Petawawa that aren't even going yet because they don't have any work. So it might be an idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I think once we get down to the bottom dollar, once those are decided upon, and then we need to act upon that as soon as possible. Especially when you can go ahead and act on those 3 projects already. Those would be contracted, would it not be? Or is there a job, is Corner View going to be done by part of staff, or part staff and part?
Yeah, it was going to be a combined effort, Corner View.
Councillor McCoy.
Yeah, that other road, Rockbridge Road, it's a bad spot, maybe 50 meters, and it's really bad there. That's the worst. If you had a slow car, you'd bottom out there.
Yeah, I don't know how the plows get down it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You can do 50 meters up though.
Yeah, that
You could even do it with just an overlay, like a pad.
well, I think it needs to be ground up and,
Yeah, 50 meters, and
yeah.
if it's only one side, you can do the grind on one
Oh,
side.
no,
with a pad.
it's going over the hill there, going into it in Rafting Road,
And
yeah.
it would,
It's not a big deal.
I would highly recommend if there is any culverts to be done, to get them done.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, do the whole shebang for those 4 kilometers. Okay.
Would you like me to drop that cost then down to 168?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, are we done talking about the road construction major right now? Councillor McLaughlin.
I'd like to know, I see you have Bromley line on here. At what point was it first surfaced? I know it's been told to me.
The best I can figure out is like 99, 2000, around there, just before amalgamation.
Okay. And then I look at Caroline Magnesium Road, which I know was 1960. It was when it was first resurfaced. So, I don't know. I'm not in favor of resurfacing that road. I think it's too much of a cost, and we don't have the traffic count on it to see how much goes up that road. As it's been told to me, Magnesium Road is part of the interlock to get to the rafting, to the tourism business as well. They come off at Haley Station, come through that way. So, I mean, and you know, somebody said to me that your assessment goes down if your roads turn back to gravel as well. So, I mean, 2000, that's all, you know, it's what, 14 years? That's all it's ever been? It was always gravel before that?
It was turned back to gravel last year.
Okay, yeah, in 2014. So if it was first done in 2000, it's only 14 years that it lasted.
Mayor Johnson, do you have any information on
We
that?
are talking about Bromley Road.